What's going on, people? Welcome to United View. Good morning. 1st of May, pinch punch, 1st of the month, man. Yep. There you go.
You used to do that to
You're in
people. I used to
school,
never
of
do that
course,
to people.
all the
Do you used to do that? Pinch punch first of the month.
Well, you didn't do it.
I'm just not a violence guy, Flex. That's not.
It's not really violence. It's just, mate. It's not pinch punch and GBH of the fit. It's just,
I always treat others as you wish to be treated yourself. I don't want people coming up to me doing pinch punch first of the month, all that kind of stuff.
God.
I wouldn't do it to others. I'd be like, no,
God.
It's fine.
Well, what a good human being you are. Model human.
Well,
model human. But yes,
instead of get someone else to do it.
yeah. Go and do it to them.
Go do it now.
Yeah. Honestly, you're one of them guys. Yes, big up to you guys. Happy 1st of May. Loads to get into today, man. Loads to get into. The latest rumors, the latest transfers, the latest goings on at Manchester United. More exits as well. We're going to be talking about that. INEOS ain't playing. But be careful, Owen. You can't say that. You don't know how this is going to go. INEOS have made loads of changes, but you don't know how it's going to go. So stop saying that changes have happened. Okay?
No, I'm not going to.
Don't state the obvious.
Not going to.
Also, Bruno exiting a really interesting interview that just popped up out of nowhere, really, on DAZN with Bruno, and he had some interesting quotes about his future as well. Omar Barada's start time as well, start date. So we'll talk about that. So much to get into. You lot know what the deal is, though. 250 likes, base level. We've got over 400 people watching already. First super chat just come through the door as well. Oof, easy though. Might not read all of that. Jeez, chill out, man. And wait for United to win the Prem. You always put a super chat in as well. But yeah. I mean, but it's in reference to Kendrick Lamar. I'll get back to that anyway. I'll get back to that. Who else have we got in the chat? Morning, says Marion Jones. Good morning, UV. Have a blessed day, says Tiny Reeds. If I performed at my job like Rashford does at his, I'd be sacked, says Craig Perkins. Paul says, I agree with that. Big up, says Aminor as well. So loads of people in the chat. Everyone is there. Get involved and smash a like on the video as well. Waiting for United to win the Prem does have a super chat in reference to the Kendrick Lamar diss track yesterday, which was crazy, which really was crazy. I know there's a N word there, which he's not saying in that context, but on the channel, that's not what we have. But it is in reference to Kendrick's cooking yesterday, which is a whole different ball game. Cooking Drake, which was, if you're into the rap battles, are you into rap battles?
I've had my fair share. Yeah. I don't really want to go into it. It's a sort of double life, but
Yeah, okay. What did you think of the Kendrick Lamar diss track? Are you feeling that?
It was heavy. It was really heavy, mate. Yeah.
Heavy
Like I said,
stuff.
I don't like to sort of get involved in it, but it was pretty. I went for if that that lives up to the name of a diss. I mean, it's very diss. So I'm tuned in. I'm tapped into it. Yeah.
Good man. That's what we want to see. That's exactly what we want to see. Right, let's get straight into this though, because this is important. Bruno exit hint.
Yeah, this, like you said, this one did kind of come out of nowhere and caught a few people by surprise. So Bruno was doing an interview with DAZN in Portugal, and on the possibility of leaving Manchester United, which you go, well, that kind of came from nowhere. He said, it doesn't just depend on me, does it? A player has to want to be here, but at the same time, you have to want him to stay. At the moment, I feel there's that on both sides. I'm not thinking too much about the future, not least because obviously the season hasn't been at the level I'd hoped for, either individually or collectively so far. He then goes on to say, we still could end up the season by winning the FA Cup. After that, we have a very important Euros coming up. If you want me to be very honest, if I have to think about not continuing in the Premier League, it won't be until after the Euros. Nothing will be able to take my focus away from the FA Cup and the Euros, as there's nothing more important than that at the moment. Now, what do you make of that, Flex? As I said, it kind of just sort of appears out of nowhere. Do you think it's one of those ones, because the way I read that is like, well, if you're asking me about leaving and you want me to be honest, I haven't even really thought about it. And you have to want to leave, and the club has to want you to leave, and that doesn't appear to be the case. But I suppose when the Manchester United captain is talking about exits at the time, which we hear that everyone's got a price, it's going to lead to some
I think it's
some
that.
debate, isn't
Yeah,
it?
I think you have to look at it from what Bruno actually said versus what he didn't say, like factually. So he says, you know, if we just let me just go back a bit to get that because I saw it on the screen. He says that at the moment, I feel there's that on both sides, i.e., a player wanting to stay at a club and a club wanting to keep the player. So that's the very important part of, because you can just navigate on different bits to go, I'll tell you what, he said he's not thinking about it until after the Euros. He's going to make his mind up after the Euros. He's going to decide after the Euros. If you're not concentrating on everything, he clearly says at the moment, like as of now, doing this interview,
Yeah.
because that's another thing as well, by the way, of like, as I'm talking to you now, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Might change by August.
Anything could change.
But
That's life.
at
Anything could
that's
change.
part of life. At the moment, I feel there's that on both parts. A player that wants to be there and a club that wants to keep the player.
Mhm.
And I'm not thinking too much about the future, like you said, because he's, you know, we've got FA Cup and this, that, and the other. But at a time whereby the club are saying, all the reports from very credible journalists are saying, everyone's got a price. At a time when it's that, I think it's difficult to just be like, oh, that's definitely just not a thing. You know,
Yeah.
it's difficult. It's difficult because I just think I don't think Bruno will leave, but I'm not naive enough to say 100% it's this and 100% it's that. Because, like we keep saying, which some people don't like to hear, we are entering into a dawn that we don't really know much about. It's new. It's
Mm.
new. We could see some staggering things that we really didn't expect to see.
Maybe
We
he
could
thinks
see
the
the
same.
same and get angry.
Maybe he thinks the same. He's
He
like, I don't
doesn't know.
know. I don't know what's on the horizon. And also, I suppose as well, from like a PR point of view, whatever. He's like, well, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. Like he might go, well, there might be new people that come in and decide that I'm not the same, not the right person for the future. I don't know. And he's 29 as well. Maybe he goes, well, actually, I would like to win a Premier League or a Champions League or a La Liga, before my time's up in my career. Maybe he does look elsewhere. That might be a possibility. Like you say, I think the top line thing to take from it should be, at the moment, I don't want to leave. The club doesn't want me to leave. I haven't even really thought about it because why would I be thinking about leaving when I've got an FA Cup final and a European Championships on the horizon? It's not really entered my mind, but of course, it might be something that comes up in the future. It's one of those ones. But I suppose, like anything, when you leave stuff open-ended and you don't put a full stop on it, like with Manchester United at the moment, when there's even a modicum of ambiguity, that leaves people space to interpret different things, isn't it? Go, well, actually, when he said that, I kind of thought this, or when he didn't say this, I kind of thought about that. People try and fill in the blanks, don't they? So. You never know. You never know. You never know of anything of Manchester United at the moment, people's future. I mean, it must be stress, mustn't it? That all of those reports from like David Ornstein, James Ducker, even Simon Stone said, well, Bruno Fernandes, whilst he wasn't listed in like Cobby, Garnacho, and Hoyland territory, he was like the one below that where they were like, it'd take a big offer. It would take a very big offer. But you never know. Anything can happen in football at the moment, and I think that the good thing is that United are open to anything at the moment, particularly with all of the players. If a good offer comes in, you're like, oh, let's talk.
Yeah, nothing soft target. And just when you discuss Bruno, which we should take this opportunity to do it, because I've never seen somebody so polarizing for somebody who like kind of does so much for the team personally. Like, has he had times whereby he's annoyed me in his playing style and this, that, and the other? Yes, absolutely. But you can't discount the impact that he's had in this rubbish United team. And if he wasn't there, like, where would United be? And I'm not saying that where we are now is something to celebrate. Oh, Bruno's so good. He's made us, we're sixth in the league, mate. Get real. I get what people are going to say straight back. I know there's people watching it right now. I know what you're going to say. I've got it all logged because it's been there, done it, worn a t-shirt, seen it all. But in terms of his actual impact, even this season, like now, of what he's done numbers-wise and he's having a good season. And actually, for large parts, it felt like he was having an awful season. And it just shows you, and he's admitted himself there, look, on a personal, he hasn't been where he wants to be as well. And obviously the team definitely hasn't. But he's integral to the team. And I think if the team was a lot better, he is one who could thrive with a lot better players around him. Definitely, 100% could. But at the same time, in the interest of not being player FC, and I'm all here for the rip it up, and everyone's got their price. I'm all here for it because at the same time, he has been part of a failing Manchester United. Marcus Rashford has been part of a failing Manchester United. Luke Shaw has been part of a failing Manchester United. And I'm not saying it's all these guys' fault, but I'm saying there's people who have been there through a few cycles of it now. Who am I to be like, no, make sure that they stay, make sure that no, not at all. Not at all. Like, that's what I'm up for. But he deserves his respect.
Yeah, I think there's this is like when we spoke about when the report came out the other day, isn't it? There's very few players in that Man United squad that are, indispensable. Like we just cannot get rid of them. We just can't.
Very few.
Now there are others that, like a Bruno, where if we did get rid of him quicker than others, we would miss him. We would be like, actually. And the key would be to replace him immediately with someone that can maybe not get the goals that he does, but if you want to move into a different kind of profile of player, then you do that quickly. But I think, again, we're not attached to any player really at this point. They all can go. That's when you say rip them up if a good offer comes in. But like you said, he is an interesting one, Bruno, because as you mentioned, he is so polarizing at points because there are massive pros and there are like cons that you do see all the time, and not even just like the sort of petulant stuff, all that, or going, he rolls around on the floor or he gets angry at people. I'm talking like fundamental, like part of the game on the pitch where you go, he can be wasteful on the ball, or he can be, if Bruno's off, then he's massive. Like you never see Bruno just do average. You never see he's average today. He's off, but then even if he is off, he can still score 2 goals. And you go, wow, Bruno was terrible today, but he scored 2 goals. That's
still finds a way. Yeah.
That's why I think you have the big debate about him. But I think Bruno, to be honest, I think he'd be in the same territory. Like those reports are saying this week. Well, if Marcus Rashford went to Manchester United and said, I want to leave, I think Bruno would probably fall in that same category. If Bruno said, you know what, actually, I know I'm like the captain and all that kind of stuff, but I'm 29 and I just want, I think actually I want a different challenge. Then I think, I just go, all right, cool. That's because they're not attached to anyone because as you mentioned, it's not working. So it might speed up the process that in a few years' time anyway, the conversation about replacing Bruno would probably naturally come up, wouldn't it? And you go, okay, well, then we'll do it now then. So it's not a case of like, he has to go tomorrow. But if he wanted to go, then I don't think United would stand in his way. But
especially if the money was right.
Let's be totally honest here. I fully expect Bruno Fernandes to be a Manchester United player next season. I'd be really surprised if he went this summer. But strange things happened.
Yeah, strange things happen. I think it just depends. Like if somebody came and put substantial money down on the table, Man United would have to look at it and go to Bruno and say, "Well, we've received this. What's your feeling? Do you want to carry on here?
And it depends who it is. Like, for instance, if a Saudi Pro League club came in and went 70 million, Bruno Fernandes, United obviously would look at that. But would Bruno go to Saudi? Bruno? Probably not. He'd be like, actually, you know what? No, I'm not sure. If, I don't know, Real Madrid, Barcelona, or someone said, hey, we're interested in Bruno, it might turn his head a little bit. He might go, actually,
Yeah.
So we shall see.
Yeah, exactly. Beastles has a 5th super chat, so big up to you. Thank you for your support, bro. And Lil Yo-Yo says, streets are saying Owen is jumping into rap beef. Streets are talking, Owen.
Yeah, like I don't want to get drawn into it. You know what I mean? I don't really get drawn into that kind of stuff. My past is my past.
Absolutely. Truth Engraved has been a member for 22 months. Says, okay, I want an answer from both of you. A team bids 75 million for Bruno. What would you do? I know I keep him. Do you? We actually have a video coming out. Me and KG did a Manchester United price list yesterday.
Yeah.
It's not coming out till Saturday actually. which doesn't help you right now, truth engraved,
Yeah.
because you have to wait till then. But me and KG, look out for it. Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Me and KG do a Manchester United price list. It's a hypothetical. It's more a video of what would it take for you, because to say yes to a bid. It's not going to happen. It's not a video based on what's going to happen. It's a video of, okay, so if some, I'll give you an example, and I won't say what the answers were. So I said, Alejandro Garnacho. I said to him, if somebody came in, what would you sell for? Not because you want to sell him this summer, just what in the name of Man United, in this thing where they're saying everyone's got a price. We just thought it'd be fun, just to do a fun video of just what it would take. And Manish, like you said, these prices are going to be way off. LOL. Yeah. There you go. So there's a bit of fun. There's some serious ones, but there is also some fun in there. And obviously the big polarizing ones were Bruno, Rashford, Garnacho, Rasmus, Kobbie Mainoo,
Anthony,
Ooh. Maguire. But yeah, McTominay. Some really good ones. All of them. McTominay, Mount, Wan-Bissaka, Dalot. What you said, Dalot? I'll tell you what. Bloody hell. But also the Kobbie Mainoo one, I will say, is very interesting. KG was in full KG, not thinking, then going. No spoilers. No spoilers.
Yeah.
Tabrez says, Owen on JDZ Media, new track, send for kilogram. Balali says, I think people underestimate how good Bruno could be in a more disciplined role under a better coach. We saw glimpses last season. And Danny Luciano says, Bruno earns his shirt, stats and effort always. So yeah, we've got over 1,000 people watching live, 160 likes. So let's get to 250. Let's keep pushing people. Big up to everyone watching in the chat. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. We're flying for subscribers at the moment. More INEOS changes though. Late last night, more people gone, mate.
Yes, there was a statement from Manchester United, which always makes you worry, doesn't it, to be honest? It always makes you worry. But during the Champions League game, there was another statement that came out last night saying Manchester United has made 2 further changes to its executive leadership. By mutual consent, Patrick Stewart, no, not the X-Men, the interim chief executive officer, and Cliff Beattie, the chief financial officer, have decided to leave the club at the end of the season. Patrick will be replaced as CEO by Jean-Claude Blanc until the arrival of Omar Barada on the 13th of July. So that's a confirmed start date for the new Manchester United CEO.
Yeah, we were wondering about that, weren't we?
Exactly, yeah. Beattie will be replaced as CFO by Roger Bell. So quotes, Joel Glazer said, quote, I would like to thank Patrick and Cliff for their dedicated service to Manchester United and wish them well for the future. Both have been a source of invaluable advice and expertise over many years, and Patrick has served as an important role as interim CEO during this transitional phase. Jim Ratcliffe commented saying, I would like to personally thank both Patrick and Cliff for their support in helping us get to know the club and making us feel welcome. And I respect their decisions to now move on as we establish a new management team for the club. Now, what is quite interesting about this actually, Flex, as well, I was reading a piece from The Athletic this morning talking about these changes. And they were sort of saying, actually, this goes to show once again that INEOS's reach is getting further than just footballing stuff. When you talk about the CFO, you're talking again about the business side of the operations, not just football side of the operations. And there was a report a few months ago that suggested that now that INEOS was kind of through the door and they were sort of doing an audit on things and looking at things, it had become quite obvious that I think most fans kind of knew that it's very difficult rather just to compartmentalize and just be like, we're just going to do football. And you go, well, there's crossover. It's going to bleed over to other aspects, to business aspects of the club. And INEOS now have further reach and further control over that. But it just, to me, when I saw it last night, it just kind of confirmed what I had thought. I mentioned it on the Full View on Monday, that there are changes at Manchester United. There are fundamental, sweeping changes at Manchester United. Now, when you say change, of course, people assume you mean that they're going to be positive change. We don't know whether these are going to be positive or negative. You would hope considering some of the people leaving have been associated with over a decade of failure, mismanagement at Manchester United. Surely anything's got to be better than that. And getting experienced people in to replace them and people with good reputations to replace them is a positive. We'll wait and see how that plays out. But one thing is for certain is there are sweeping changes, and they are doing it step by step. They are doing it, to trickle down. So they're starting off, well, it started off by going, someone bought in Jim Ratcliffe. Then some people got added to the board of directors, i.e. Jim Ratcliffe, Jean-Claude Blanc, and Sir Dave Brailsford. And then you got, Richard Arnold, he's gone. Omar Barada's in. John Murtaugh's gone. They're going to get Dan Ashworth at some point. Jason Wilcox, he's already in. And now you've got these other people, Beattie and Stewart, they're going as well. All of the people that have been associated with the failure at Manchester United for the last 10 years, they're going. Now they can say,
out and very quickly as well, by the way.
And they can say, it's mutual. Then, you can leave mutually and be told to leave at the same time anyway, because you can see the writing on the wall. 100%. So it's inevitable then that would trickle down, and you look towards everything else at the club. And I'm not singling out one person in particular.
Whoa!
I'm not.
Hang on. I made that 3 minutes there you spent on the hierarchy, and it looks like you're going towards the manager here.
I haven't even mentioned anyone. I haven't even mentioned anyone specific yet. I haven't.
Yet.
Because
cool.
I haven't mentioned anyone. But when you're talking about every single aspect of the club now, whether it's the coaching staff, whether it's the playing staff, whether it's the medical department, whether it's the recruiting, the scouting network, they're all on the chopping block.
And who else?
Because
who else is on the chopping block?
Everyone. And
who?
And this is what's funny, yeah? This is what's funny, yeah? Because I've said everyone there, and you know what the pushback is? Don't you dare single out Erik ten Hag like that. Don't you dare. It's like, what? So my point on Monday was that everyone has to be held accountable for, and for different things, by the way. The executives who have been here for 10 years should be held accountable for the 10 years, See
you later.
So they're gone. I mean, ultimately, the people that are most accountable are the shitty majority owners in the Glazers. They're the ones that are really culpable and accountable. They're the reason why they're sort of
they can't
going into the background like this. That's the reason why they're disappearing. But they're those executive leadership team that's been there for a decade. INEOS taken 5 minutes and gone, no, rubbish. Let's get rid of them. Let's bring in new people.
Rip it up.
That is what they are doing at the moment. Now, some of it might be, it's going to take longer than others. Some people still might be here next season. They might be here the season after. They might be here in 3 years' time. But cards are marked. Change is happening. It is inevitable. And that I saw last night as the continuation of that. Like you said, the only surprising thing, maybe, is, like you say, how quickly it has happened. I mean, we're looking at 4 sort of top executives or directors at Manchester United gone. I mean, you're talking about Richard Arnold. He was a CEO, managing director, whatever you want to call him, whatever his title. He is gone. There is a new one. John Murtaugh, a football director. He is gone. The same John Murtaugh, by the way, that just a couple of months ago is going, I might be sticking around. No, not sticking around. You're gone. Yeah. CFO, they're getting a new one. Patrick Stewart, I think he was the interim CEO. Before that, wasn't he like chief legal counsel or something like that?
Something like that. Yeah, he got promoted just while they was looking for.
But again,
a new one,
they are massive positions in an organization. The CEO and the CFO, they're gone. So nobody is safe. Nobody is safe at this point, and they are going to be absolutely ruthless. And changes on the way, whether you like it or not, whether you think it's good or bad. It's here.
Yeah, I think that's what you got. That's what you got to be like. You got to look at it like that, because that's why. And I'm not afraid to do this. Not saying you are, but I will talk about the manager actually in this bit, because that's why I don't think
be careful. Be careful. Be careful.
No, I'm going to say that. No, it's not about fence. So I don't want to say this. I'm just going to say what my opinion is. It's my opinion, and not anyone else's, and no one has to share it. If you agree with it, fine. If you don't, fine as well. That's what it's about. And it's not me saying this. I'm not about to say this is why Ten Hag needs to go. What I was going to say is this is why when some people think like it's just like, how can they sack him like that? They just won't do that. They just can't do it. Like, you can see what they're on. You can see what INEOS are on, regardless of but what about the injuries? Regardless of just giving more time, regardless of be patient, All of those things are true, by the way. I don't necessarily disagree with them things. As me personally, I'm talking about INEOS, the people sitting there analyzing this stuff, doing the audits, doing the due diligence, the same way that they all got it upstairs. It's the same scrutiny and the same intensity that the people on the playing level will get. Players, managers, manager, coaching staff, medical staff, staff around Carrington, admin staff. They don't even have the flipping credit card anymore for for people to go to flipping get
The
expenses
groundsman,
to go to
everyone.
the groundsman. Like
Everyone.
but that's the bit what I don't think people are realizing. You
No.
just have blind faith in INEOS. No, I'm looking at what's happening, like physically what's happening. Like they
Yeah.
are literally stripping out or looking at all of Manchester United from top to the bottom, to
Yeah.
the match day experience, to the flipping food that gets sold for hospitality, to the wine that's on the menu,
They
to
want
like
food cooked. They want the food.
what food they want it
You
cooked.
didn't cook the food. You're gone. We get a new
You know what I
chef.
mean?
You know?
Do you know what I mean? Though, and that is reflected also. And again, I'm not coming from a thing of like I know everything. I've spoken to people in the club in these types of roles who do different things that are way below senior level, but are around operating level operations, right? So I'll give you an idea. People who are in charge of things like different admin stuff or security or this or that. There's so many roles within the football club. And when I speak to certain people, they say, not we don't really know. We don't know. They've not come in and said, listen, you lot in this department, well done, everything's fine, you're good to go. They also haven't come in and said get out, but I'm just saying, they've said we're waiting. We're waiting to hear like where we start. Like I know that for a fact. So
Yeah.
this notion that like it isn't this change isn't deep rooted and running through the whole veins of the club. You need to get that in your heads, guys. When you think like, but the manager will just be safe because like he hasn't had enough time. Like there's just been too many injuries. Don't think that INEOS will give a shit and just
No.
make that means that he just must stay because of that automatically. I'm not saying he is going to go. I'm just saying the other side to it is they are 100% going through all of this thing with a fine-tooth comb, and anybody can get it. Anybody. If the biggest wigs at the club can get it, anyone can get it.
I think,
Anyone.
yeah. I think the key, probably the best way to phrase it is, and maybe this is, because like I said, whenever this gets brought up, people get really defensive, really defensive, and result to insults immediately. But it's not necessarily to say that Erik ten Hag is going to be sacked or he should be sacked. It's just saying that he, along with everyone else at Manchester United, are not safe. And again, that's not even like just a
Caffey should
footballing
be.
thing.
Yeah, everyone's saying
Yeah,
in the chat.
yeah,
Caffey, yeah.
but that's not even just a football thing. From my own experience, I haven't worked in a company. Well, actually, I have worked in a company that's on the scale of Manchester United before, like a big multinational company, whatever. And I've worked in companies that they've been taken over, or people have bought in, or people have sold off brands that the company has owned. And I'm telling you for a fact, and there'll be probably people in the chat that have had experience of this too. When new people come in or they've bought into something, people that have worked there for ages, they go. Like they just go. Why? Because these new people go, I've bought into this company. I'm bringing my own people in. You may have had success or lack thereof for however many periods of time, but I think I can do better. And because I think I can do better, I'm bringing in my own guys. I'm putting myself on the line, because if I'm spending this money, I want to have people running this company that I believe in, I can trust. Now, some people do stick around. Some people do stick around, and some people, they have these conversations with these new people that have bought in, and they go, yeah, I'm totally aligned with that. So that's maybe where Erik ten Hag could fall in. Maybe he does have these conversations. They go, actually, you know what? We got all these new people in. We sat down and we're totally on the same page, and we totally do believe in you. So yeah, absolutely. You stick around for another year. We'll see what happens. Or they might go, we appreciate that injuries. We appreciate this. We appreciate that. We're just going to go in a different direction. I mean, I've heard that in my career as well. That when they go, actually, it's nothing about performance.
Nothing.
Like
It's
that.
nothing to you. Yeah.
We're just going to go in a different. We just want to go in a different direction. They might do that because again, when you've bought in, your own money's on the line, and again, you're going to bring in your own people. That is just.
And at Man United, that's less likely to happen in terms of it's not really performance. We just want to go because it will be performance because we're shit. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not been any positive results in the last 10, 11 years. The club's rotting and it's awful. It needs rebuilding. So the likeliness is, even if they say it in a polite way, it will be for performance.
Well, they're never going to come in and keep everything the same, are they? Because it's not
No,
working. They're there for a reason.
Exactly.
So
It's not working.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, obviously, whilst they don't own the club, they do have control over the football operations. And as I said, it's looking more likely that their scope of control over things is actually getting far more wide-reaching than maybe originally anticipated. We're bringing in their own, the CFO. Whatever. I mean, they've got the chief executive officer is an INEOS recruit. I mean, that's the guy that's running a lot of the club.
Their guy.
Yeah. Their guy.
Yeah.
So, and between now and when he comes in, the person who's run. But remember before, the interim CEO was still technically a Glazer person in Patrick Stewart, and he will be to the end of the season. But even in the interim period, the interim period of getting Patrick Stewart out and getting to Omar Barada, they still said we want an INEOS person in, Jean-Claude Blanc. Like, that's how important it is for when we get the summer for their vision, the INEOS vision, to be put on track straight away. That they're like, well, we could have Patrick Stewart, just run it until Omar Barada comes in. But they're going, actually, you know what? No, that's from June to July. That's an important period of time. So no, Jean-Claude Blanc, he's an INEOS guy. Let's make sure he does it. He bridges that gap.
And that's the thing we've seen.
That's how
the lack of
they
willing to. Yeah, and it was the same with John Murtough. Well, we could just let him. There's only a few games left. We can clearly see we ain't going to get Champions League. Just let him stay till no. We're changing it now. Jason,
we'll let him stay until Dan Ashworth comes in, because that's going to be the more like for like. And
no, we'll make do. We'll make do. And like you said, the same with Patrick Stewart. It just shows, and this is what I mean. These are all the signs. I don't want to say alarming signs, because I think they're refreshing signs, to be fair. But these are the refreshing signs that we're seeing, that these guys are serious about change. So how can you think anybody's safe? How can you think that?
Faith? And
no, it's not.
It's not like, we remember before we were saying, why are you so blind faith that INEOS will get it right? No idea if INEOS is going to get it right, by the way. We don't know. Time will tell. You hope, based on what you're seeing, that you go, well, these people leaving and new people coming in, that's got to be hopefully a positive. But it's not blind faith they're going to get it right. But like you say, factually looking at it, when 4 senior executives have left in the space of 2 or 3 months, and by the way, also that a task force has already started about building a new stadium, which they openly admit is going to take some time to figure out what they're going to do there. But still, that ball is rolling. That was not rolling previously. Like, they are. It's not as if they're sitting on their hands doing nothing, is it?
Yeah.
They're not.
The
They're
Black
not sitting on their
Red
hands doing nothing.
The Black Red says, Fleck, believe in the spin, the media spin. It's not really true that we've got a brand new CEO and Dan Ashworth's come in and Jason Wilcox is here and Murtough has left and, Richard Arnold has left and Patrick Stewart has left. It's media spin. It's spin, not media spin. It's spin from INEOS. This is just publicity stunt. They're not really actually making changes. Like, nothing's really changed. It's just, they're just spinning this to get the fans on board.
It's a pretty bold media stunt, isn't it, to get a new CEO?
Pretty expensive one as well. Harry says, Owen, so it's Eric Ten Hag's fault Pogba left.
Absolutely. That's basically where I'm at. That's where I'm at the moment. Like, I know not to dwell on it too much, but it's just, I said to you yesterday, didn't I, Flex, that we're in this situation now where people, if you don't say something, that's what people focus on rather than what you did say. It's again, like predictive text, it's predictive listening. That's what it is now. If you say everyone needs to go, why the hell are you singling out Eric Ten Hag? Like, imagine someone put in a super chat, Flex, and said, you know what, United View, the shows recently, I'm just not really enjoying them. And then my response was, why are you singling me out for that? You'd be like, well, didn't say you. I didn't say you, Owen.
Wasn't me.
I'd be like, that was about me. That's what it's like at the moment. It's crazy.
Yeah. Truth in Grave says, I think Kathy should be out first. Been there too long. Maybe she is the problem. And Harry says, the club absolutely never. That's just, he's joking, surely. And this club will never move forward without Kathy. With Kathy there. Sack her. She is the dressing room leak. I'm joking. I love Kathy. Yeah, we all do love Kathy. What an absolute legend. And Beastle says, under 18s Premier League and Cup champions. Look at Eric Ten Hag's record of integrating of youth at Ajax. I still believe he's the right manager for us. Trust the process, Marcella. And Ketchadil says, I understand business in depth. Let us not push for things with speculation. Let us wait before we trust. I am watching the fan base deceived again, says Ketchadil. And that's, again, going into what Owen's saying most were not doing, which is believing that
it's going to work.
Looking at what they've
We
done.
don't know. We don't know. We have
haven't
no
said
idea.
that,
No
and
idea.
now they've done this. Finally, we've done this. Now we are back. No, because we don't know.
Or it's not even saying that like all of these people, they're going to get it right at Manchester United and it's going to be fixed. It is just factually, fundamentally, there is change at Manchester United at the moment. INEOS are making changes. Like that is just what is happening. Now, if in a year's time, 2 years' time, it's exactly the same, you go, oh, change didn't lead to all of those many different results, did it? But it is changing. Like that is just, you know, we are at the beginning once again of a new cycle. We were the day that Sir Jim Ratcliffe acquired his stake in Manchester United was given control of football operations because they're bringing their own people in.
Simple as that. We've hit 250 likes. Bang on. Well done, everyone. Well done. Just over halfway through the show. So we've got 250 likes. Let's push now because we have got like 1,300 people watching or thereabouts. So let's get to 400 now. Let's push. If we could do 500, that'd be great. Let's do it in increments. Ray Carl Brown says the proof for INEOS for me is what they do in the transfer window and building a team. I don't care about boardroom people.
But then you can't have one before the other, can you? That's the problem. You can't.
That is exactly. You can't. Ray Carl, bro, that's crazy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna call you out on that one. The boardroom is probably the most important thing in my opinion. Anyway, I don't know what you lot think. The acid test is the window. The acid test is the window to see how well they deliver. But what we've seen with the old regime at board level, because they're the people who actually make the decisions and empower the people who make decisions on transfers, they've been getting it wrong. So now there's a new set of people. We've had to change them people. That boardroom is really like they're the main reason we're shit, as well as the Glazers.
You have to get those people in first. We can't be like, well, to put it this way, we can't blame, like, for instance, John Murto for a terrible transfer window and then like keep them go, let's see what happens in the transfer window with INEOS above them. You've got to set the table first, don't you? You have to get those people in position and then they do the transfer window. You've got to set the foundations first, can't you? You can't be like this, well, I want to see how this house turns out and not build any foundations first. Like that's what you've got to do. Like you say, Flex, those people in those positions have been associated with 10 years of failure. And also as well, what's going to be interesting, they're going to have to try their best to make a statement in this transfer window, but they might find it difficult because they might be like, we're still getting people in those positions, and they will be judged on this transfer window as well. They'll realize they want to make a good first impression. But I think that the moment we start going, oh, we don't care about what happens at boardroom level, we only care what happens in the transfer market. If INEOS did that, that's how you end up like Chelsea. That's what happened at Chelsea. Of going, oh, the people in those director positions will figure those out later. Let's just get into the transfers. Let's sign Sterling and Koulibaly and all that. That didn't work.
No, it didn't. Truth in Grey says, actually, Flex, to think that from the time Ashworth was involved, a decision wasn't already made regarding Erik ten Hag is doing a disservice to INEOS. I would be very disappointed to think results break their resolve. So you think that a few results ain't going to change their mind? They have already made up their mind what they're doing with Erik ten Hag, regardless of the FA Cup win. And, well, the run-in's gone now. We can't do anything good. It could only get worse. It can't get much better. In terms of the league anyway. So, yeah, I mean, you're saying that, well, maybe that is a disservice to INEOS. Maybe it is. I don't know. But we don't know because it's so open-ended and they're keeping it so tight-lipped. We don't necessarily know. That is open to interpretation, whether INEOS have made their minds up from a long time ago and said the only way we will... If they make, let's say, there's so different scenarios, they could have made up their mind that they're going to change the manager next season, regardless. And they might have said the only way we're not going to do it is if we do get into the Champions League and win the FA Cup and we can really see the performances are this, that, and the other. Or they could say, look, we know it's shit, it's terrible, he hasn't had his team, that we've already decided we're going to stick with him, especially for the first, months or first part of next season at least, to have a good transfer window. get injured players back and give them some time with us to work with us. So even if we finish awful with no trophy and out of Europe, we're not going to change our mind on that. So it could be either. It's open to interpretation, I suppose. Breakard Brown says the board people can be just as bad as the last. The acid test. That's what I see. For me, Ashworth and co has to prove themselves. That's why I am not on INEOS fan club yet. And that's fine.
Of course they need to prove themselves. Yeah,
but everyone needs to prove themselves because you're new.
I don't think we're saying they don't need to prove themselves. Again, this goes back to the blind faith argument, isn't it? It's not a case of blind faith or anything like that. But to have a successful transfer window, we need those people that are going to be signing those players in the position first. I mean, it's surely only logical from that regard, right? I mean, we have seen that those people that were in those decisions, whether it was doing the actual negotiations, the scouting, signing off on the deals in the case of, you know, the owners or the CEOs or all that kind of stuff weren't doing their job. So for us to have, as you say, the acid test that would be passable or acceptable, they need to be in place first to kind of have it. Again, you can't have one before the other. Like I don't disagree with the sense of if we have terrible transfer windows, then you'll be absolutely right to be like, well, nothing's really changed in that regard. But I think the initial point was we can't be like, well, I'll judge what happens in the summer without them being in, and I don't care who they are first. They got to be in first, don't they? And then obviously, of course, they'll be judged. Everyone's judged at Manchester United based on if they're doing their job or not, isn't it? That's where we are, isn't it? Because they're not doing their jobs. Lots of people.
It's true. It's very, very true. Lots of people aren't doing their jobs, and that's why the change has been brought about. Simple as that. So we'll see. We'll see if people, do end up trusting in INEOS more. Is your point where you have to see things in the transfer window, the types of players, the types of moves that we have for players going out. It is all relevant. We can't just say, oh, they've fixed everything because they're here. It's just not how it works.
Of course not.
No, it's not. It's not really transfer news. It's a little bit rogue, but I know we have been linked to Kieran Dewsbury Hall in recent weeks and months. But just a little piece from him via Romano, via someone else, Press Association, I believe. Owen Palmer is another Owen. Journalist, are you, Owen?
Strong name.
Yeah, sure. Spelt different though.
I've started off with an E.
No, it's OWYNN.
It's quite Welsh, I think.
Yeah, proper. Anyway, but Kieran Dewsbury Hall said to this reporter called Owen, but not this Owen, said, on his future, I've been at Leicester since I was 8 years old, and I have got no intention of leaving. My intention is very clear. So obviously he's got his boyhood club back up to the Premier League as well. I think that would probably change if they came up and went straight back down again.
He did support Man United, didn't he? Did you see all that?
Yeah, I did see that he did support United, but he's obviously been in there. Yeah, because he's like, what is this and all that? Yeah.
But that's today's day and age, isn't it? With players, because now if you sign someone that's in their 20s, they've been on social media since they were a kid, haven't they? So
exactly.
It's like wasn't it like Grealish, who's a Villa fan? When he went to City, there were like tweets of him supporting Man United against Manchester City. So people really dig into all that kind of stuff. But you have to kind of realize that kind of sort of loyalty or affinity to that football players will have to teams they supported when they're a kid. Like, it doesn't really exist. Like, they even said it to Cole Palmer, didn't they? After Chelsea beat us. You support Man United as a kid? Yeah, I used to. But then he plays for Man City and Chelsea. Like, it doesn't really... It doesn't really, and like I said, if you've got someone that's been at a club since they were 8, they might just be like, actually, we'll just go back to the Premier League, see what happens next season as well. Yeah. And also, congratulations to Kieran McKenna. He's like, was he a point away from automatic promotion?
Oh, it'd be such Ipswich as well. It'd be brilliant. They're really close with Leeds bottling it against QPR when it got smashed. It's in there. They beat Coventry last night, didn't they?
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think they're a point away. I think they need a point. 2-1. Promotion.
Yeah, and Leicester already up. Oh, look, it gives you fireworks and stuff because Leicester are up on Google. That's mental. It's got a floating Leicester Championship champions going up the screen like that. That's so random. Does it do it on yours? Go on to just put in Championship EFL on Google, and then it just got all these fireworks and Leicester just floating up the screen.
Leicester
you can press
City,
it.
Championship champions.
It's got a button to actually press it as well. That's good. Share this experience. Bloody hell. Go on, Google. But yes, exactly that.
Go on Google.
Yeah, go on Google. It's good changes. That, I mean, made me feel part of the experience. I feel good. But yeah, I mean, they proper bottled it, didn't they? Leeds, good. Let them stay where they belong. Come on, Ipswich. I mean, Kieran McKenna, what a turnaround that would be, by the way.
What a brilliant job as well.
You know, brilliant. And you know, and it's weird actually, you know, because I'm not saying get him
be
back.
Next Man United manager. Is that what you're saying, Flex? Yeah.
But what I am saying is, obviously, he's Ollie's mate and stuff, and was on the coaching staff then. And you know, Ollie was saying that you know Michael Carrick and Kieran McKenna, top coaches. You know, good guy, really good. He said it on the overlap. And the respective jobs they've both done, especially with Kieran McKenna about to pretend he's going to do it. He's going to get to the Premier League.
Back to back, Flex.
Back to back, mate. So I mean, up from League One to the champ, and then to win the champ, to come second in the champ. To let's face it, you know, we were saying Leicester, Leeds, Southampton was one of the strongest three to come down in ages. Really, in terms of coming back into the Championship, and the league said that they were the like front runners the whole time, along with little old Ipswich Town, who only just got back in the champ from League One, Portman Road. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's mental what he's done. And actually, even though it's a name that we kind of used to say,
you say little old Ipswich Town. They're a big club, aren't they? Ipswich, big club.
They're a big club and they've been in the Premier League before. But I just mean in terms of the hiatus of not being there for so long.
Come straight up from League One, you know.
Yeah, that was probably a bit rude of me. I didn't mean little old as in they're not a big club. That's true. But in terms of like their expectation to be back in the Prem within that sort of couple of years, it just wasn't there. And Kieran McKenna, you know, we laughed and clowned sort of the names like, oh, they're running Man United. Look at this. You've got Ollie, ain't got a clue. Kieran McKenna, what's he done? Done well on the youth teams and stuff, but what's he done? Carrick, okay, he used to play for us, but you know, Mick Phelan's there. What look at us. But actually, as managers, and I'm not saying this is why, you know, Kieran McKenna should come back and manage Man United if Eric Ten Hag is. I'm not saying that, but it shows that he's competent. And good luck to him.
Well, the interesting one will be next season, won't it? Next season in the Premier League, you know, because look, they said the same thing about Vincent Kompany, didn't they, last season with Burnley in the Championship? Played, you know, exciting, great football, and then you try and if the key thing will be if you try and do that in the Premier League, you will go down. Because you're gonna struggle. That's been almost Burnley's problem this season, hasn't it? But and that's Burnley. He was a more established Premier League side than Ipswich. You know, last time Ipswich in the Premier League was that George Burley. I think it was. That's like late 90s, early 2000s. I think.
Yeah. A long time ago.
So
Aaron Bent was playing from last time. He was in the thing.
Yeah, again, it's been certainly been a while. So yeah, if he managed to keep Ipswich up next season, that would be incredible. And then there certainly will be people sniffing around him, won't there? Absolutely, there will. If Ipswich, put it this way, if Ipswich next season are like, let's say they're like 15th or 14th, come like December or something, and a Premier League team gets rid of their manager, like a more established Premier League team gets rid of their manager, they'll look at him.
That's how it starts. That's how it starts, isn't it?
They'll be like, oh, you know.
He's going to take over Bournemouth, or he's going to take over.
Oh, he's going to go to Wolves, or he's going to go to, you know.
That's how it starts.
Palace, you know, that kind of thing.
And you do a good job there, and then that's when you could get one of the big ones.
Yeah.
I don't know about going from Ipswich to one of the top teams unless he did something outstanding. I don't think if he kept them up, it would be enough for like a top 6 team. But like you said, that journey of what it looks like again, Brighton's the easiest one to look at because of what Potter did. You know, you go there, you stabilize, you're part of something really good, and then you know one of the big teams takes a punt on you. And with his ties with Man United, you never know in the future. You never know.
Yeah.
Joe Fleming says,
people say people say, you know, about Show says about him having a large budget, but it doesn't always equate to success in football, isn't it? There's been teams in the Championship that have got lots of big budgets and they don't always go up, do they? They
so it's really hard for you to do anything. Yeah, exactly. A few super chats here. Ray says, the board of people can just get behind. No, I said that one already. Catches it. Joe Fleming says, I do have blind faith in INEOS, long as no GS, GP, DZ. GP? Graham Potter, Gareth Southgate,
Deserby.
Deserby. Truth Engraved says, no, they make a decision based on what they can analyze only. He could fluke the future. Decisions should be on the past, 90%. So if they are looking at what should happen with Eric Ten Hag, they're saying judge it. He's saying judge him on what he's done in the past, what he's done up to this point, because he could fluke it from now on. I don't know. It has to be 6-1, half a dozen, because INEOS do have to look at it and say, well, with how we're going to work, do we think we can work with him and he can work with us? Can we get more out of that? Because that's the challenge. Can we get more out of the manager as well? Can the manager get more out of this squad? If we come with our new way of working and the players that we want to get, does that align with him? And if it does, do we think he's the right man to actually just coach these guys? There are reasons why Eric Ten Hag should stay. There absolutely are.
Oh, absolutely. That's the thing too. I think we mentioned it before, didn't we? About the relationship between the technical directors and the sporting directors and the manager. If Eric Ten Hag sits down with Jason Wilcox and Dan Ashworth when he comes in, or Omar Barada, and they're like, we are totally aligned here. Yeah, absolutely. We are totally aligned. We totally get it. Then he should stay because they believe he's the right man for the job. Absolutely. I think with INEOS too, of course, Jim Ratcliffe and Sir Dave Brailsford and Jean-Claude Blanc, they'll have their own opinions on Eric Ten Hag. According to the reports, though, they're going to delegate that decision to Omar Barada and Jason Wilcox and Dan Ashworth. Now, it might be a situation where Omar Barada, Jim Ratcliffe is like, I'd probably make a change, or Sir Dave Brailsford's like, I'll make a change. And Omar Barada's like, no, actually, you know what? Maybe I think we should give it another go and give it another year. And if he respects that decision, then Eric should stay. I still say, though, with that is there is no way in the interview process, like his name doesn't get brought up in that regard. I mean, it's too big of a job for it not to be brought up. So I think I think everyone's on the same page regarding what that decision is going to be. We just don't know yet, and the only mitigating circumstances might be like availability of certain things, which they have said availability of money. Actually, maybe we can't afford it, and we don't think there's anyone better.
We have to stay with them now, or it's too expensive to go and get this person, that person. Let's make the changes. We've made an awful lot already. We've got to pay off the Dan Ashworth thing. We've paid off Richard Arnold. We've paid off John Merton. We've got loads of things going on. We want to get rid of certain players as well. We'll leave the manager in place for a little bit. But then some people push back and say the one thing you change instantly if you want better results, the quickest way is to change the ideas on the training ground every day. That's how you get the quickest change. It is. But again, the other side push back and say you've got to stick with a process. You can't keep changing it. You have to have patience. 6-1, half a dozen on the other. Ray Carl says proof is in the pudding, Flex and Owen. We see it in the next 3 to 4 years. God bless. Okay,
of course it is.
True.
Of course, proof is in the pudding. Yeah,
it never isn't. And Ken Aldi says Ten Hag is a cool guy. I like him. Interesting. And
I think Ten Hag's a nice guy as well.
Yeah, mainly says
from your experiences with him, he's always been a nice guy.
Yeah, always a nice guy. Mainly says Tuchel is free. Stop the defense league. Go and get Tuchel. Harry says ultimately that's what the Eric Ten Hag decision is going to come down to: alignment with vision. Everything else is noise. Yeah, it's true. It's INEOS coming. Don't get me wrong. Seeing the team play such crap football now, and how rubbish we're playing and facing all these shots, and we're not in the Champions League. It's terrible. But they know that isn't just on Eric Ten Hag. It's a big multitude of reasons. The key thing, what Harry says there is, which is really true, is the alignment of the vision. Can what we're trying to do be picked up and received by this manager? Do we believe he can do it? If we do, let's give it a go, because he's only got a year left anyway. So we're not in any financial sort of foothold in that. That's a fairly, low risk. If we don't, then we change it now.
We'll it's going to sound like proper Michael Owen punditry here, but it is true. If Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, Dan Ashworth, if they think that Ten Hag is the right guy and they can work with him and their visions are aligned, then obviously we should keep him. Like we should. If they've got reservations or doubts or concerns, then they should explore other options. That's only natural that they would do that. And I know that people go, well, in press conferences, Ten Hag's spoken about working in a structure in the past, which he has, of course. He has worked in a structure in the past. But those structures, particularly like the Ajax one, which he was so successful in, was a structure that everyone was totally aligned and on the same page. Ten Hag can say he's aligned on the same page, these other people might think different. They might think that actually we kind of got a different viewpoints here or different visions of elements of control on certain things. But if everyone's totally aligned on the same page and moving towards the same vision, then he should stay, because they will think that everyone's the right people in the right places. That's the case. So it's not even about advocating, oh, he should be sacked, he should be this. It should be everyone should be on the same page. That's what it should be. There should be alignment.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, otherwise it can't work. What you're trying to build just can't work. Good show, peeps. Good show. We got to 330 likes in the end. Let's get to 350 on the way out. I'll give you that. Good show, guys. What we got coming up for the rest of the week and today? Potentially a flexi view later on. See how things go. See what's out there. And tomorrow morning show again. What the Devil podcast at 6 as well. And then into sort of press conference territory. Trinity on Friday, etc., etc. Jam-packed week leading up to match day, which is actually Monday night, to be fair. So a little bit of an extension. Got free weekend, guys. Enjoy your weekends. And then wait for Monday Night Football for all the scrutiny and eyes to be on us and us to get ripped.
Bank holiday.
Bank holiday as well.
What a way to ruin it. Oh,
honestly. But anyway, not going to be pessimistic. So
I know.
yeah, let's relax with that one. But guys, have a good day in whatever you're doing, and we'll see you again on the next show. Take care. Peace.